the children of two worlds who were never meant to meet. In the silent stretch of the Orion outskirts, where young suns glowed like candles in an endless dark, two planets turned in perfect balance around a warm, golden star. One was Aurelia, a world of green oceans, high crystal mountains, and ancient forests that whispered with the wind. The other was Rethos, a world wrapped in rising storms, glowing cities, and skies that forever shimmered with artificial light. They orbited the same star, but the life that grew on each world was shaped by completely different futures. The beings of Aurelia lived close to nature. They heard the voices of rivers, understood the songs of stones, and walked through forests as though walking through their own memories. Their children grew slowly and with gentle curiosity. The beings of Rethos were children of machines and miracles. Their hearts could synchronize with data streams. Their minds could connect to cities. Their bodies carried marks of technology that helped them survive anything. Their children learned engineering before they learned to walk. Their future was defined by speed and innovation. Both planets knew the other existed, but only as distant shapes in the sky. They had never met. They were never meant to meet. And yet, destiny has a strange way of ignoring the rules written by history. In Aurelia, the elders spoke of an old prophecy. It said, "One day, children of light and children of metal will stand side by side. They will bring dawn, or they will bring ruin. Their meeting will change the sky." No one took it seriously anymore. It was a tale for teaching young ones to stay away from the forbidden lands where the old crystal towers still stood, ruins from a forgotten age. But Lyra, a quiet girl with silver-flecked eyes and hair that shone like morning frost, often dreamed of it. She felt something call her from the horizon. Since she was a child, she saw visions others didn't, flashes of glowing cities, tall metal buildings, and people with strange patterns on their skin. The village healers thought she was touched by the first wind, a blessing of insight. But Lyra often felt it was more like a burden. She loved her home deeply. The tree houses, the river songs, the way the forest floor glowed softly at night. But something inside her whispered that she belonged to more than this world. One evening, while the moon cast long shadows over the forest, Lyra felt a sudden warmth across her palms. The crystal embedded there, gifted to her at birth, began to glow. A voice inside her mind whispered, "They are coming." She gasped and dropped to her knees, clutching her hands. The trees around her seemed to lean closer. The wind held its breath. Lyra didn't know who they were, but she knew the prophecy had awakened. That night, she told no one, not even her mother. Some things were too heavy to share. On Rethos, the children trained in floating academies above the glowing megacities. The brightest among them was Orion, a boy programmed for brilliance. He could speak to machines, understand complex codes instinctively, and drift through digital systems with ease. His eyes carried a faint neon shimmer, a common trait among Rethosian children who grew up connected to the grid. Unlike others, Orion often felt out of place in the crowded world of circuits and noise. While everyone else loved speed, lights, and progress, he preferred the quiet corners, the high towers where he could watch the stars, disconnected from the city's mind link. One evening, during a study session, Orion felt a strange signal. It was not from his planet, not from any known satellite, and not from the city grid. It was gentle, natural, almost like a heartbeat. He sat up sharply. "What was that?" he whispered. But no one heard him. Everyone else remained synchronized with the lesson. Orion disconnected from the Academy interface and opened his personal receiver. The pulse came again, this time with a faint sound. A whisper. "Come." Orion's breath froze. He scanned the signal's origin. It pointed toward the outer atmosphere, toward the sister planet Aurelia. Stranger still, the signal contained organic patterns, something alive. He knew he should report it to his instructors. But something deep inside told him not to. It felt personal, like the signal was meant only for him. For weeks, the signal returned every night, pulling him, calling him. Soon Orion's dreams filled with visions of forests, glowing rivers, and a girl with silver-flecked eyes calling his name. He did not know her, yet he felt that they were connected in ways he could not explain. The meeting began with a catastrophe. A rare solar flare burst from their shared star, sending a storm of energy toward both planets. Rethos's defense systems activated immediately, but one transport ship, an exploration vessel headed toward the outer atmosphere, lost control and spiraled toward Aurelia. Inside that ship was Orion. He had secretly used the storm as a distraction to journey toward the source of the strange signal. But the flare turned everything into chaos. The vessel was struck, systems shutting down one by one. Orion fought to regain control but failed. As the ship descended into Aurelia's atmosphere, its metal shell began to burn. Lyra saw the falling fire streak across the sky. The prophecy's words echoed in her mind. The children of metal will fall from the heavens. She ran into the forest. She didn't know why. She just knew she had to reach the impact site. When she arrived, the ground was scorched, trees fell in spirals, and the air shimmered with heat. At the center, the broken vessel lay half-buried. Lyra stepped forward cautiously. The door hissed open. Out stumbled a boy with glowing patterns on his skin, eyes shimmering like neon water. He fell to his knees, trembling. Their gazes met. Lyra felt her heartbeat freeze. He was the boy from her visions. Orion stared at her, stunned. She was the girl from his dreams. Neither spoke at first. Words felt too small. Finally, Orion whispered, "You called me." Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, you called me." And somewhere deep in the trees, the wind seemed to whisper in approval. But the moment was short. Aurelia's guardians, forest protectors, appeared. Tall beings cloaked in living vines and crystal armor. They surrounded Orion, weapons drawn. "He is one of the Metalborn," one guardian said sharply. "He brings danger." Lyra stepped in front of Orion instinctively. "No," she argued. "He needs help. He is not of this world." "And yet he fell into ours," she cried. "He could have died." The guardians hesitated. They did not wish to harm the child, but they feared what his presence meant. Orion looked at Lyra with gratitude and confusion. He didn't understand her words, but her voice was warm, and her stance protective. Lyra turned to him and said softly, "It's okay. You're safe here." But she was wrong, because far away in the sky, Rethos had detected the crash. And they were coming. Lyra brought Orion to her village, where healers treated his burns with glowing leaves and soft chants. Though they couldn't understand his language, they saw he was only a child, and a frightened one. Lyra stayed by his side, learning his expressions, teaching him simple words from her language. Orion, in turn, sketched shapes in the dirt, machines, stars, signals, to tell her where he came from. Over the next few days, something unexpected happened. They began to understand each other without speaking. When Lyra touched her crystal-lit palms to Orion's hands, their thoughts brushed for a moment, like two waves meeting on the shore. The elders noticed, and they feared it. "The prophecy warns of this," Elder Sarah murmured. "Two children whose bond could unite or destroy." But Lyra didn't believe in destruction. She believed in connection. She showed Orion the glowing forests, the singing river stones, the whispering winds. Orion showed her the small machine in his wrist that could project light, maps, and memories. Though their worlds were different, their wonder was the same. They laughed together. They solved small problems together. They learned to speak in half words, half gestures. They became friends, true friends. But trouble brewed on both planets. Rethos leaders demanded the immediate retrieval of Orion. They feared that Aurelia would harm him or learn Rethos technology. Their rescue ships prepared for departure. Aurelia's elders feared that Orion's people would invade in anger. They sent warnings to all borders. Both worlds prepared for conflict. Unaware of the approaching storm, Lyra and Orion explored the Heartstone Forest, where ancient crystal formations rose from the ground like frozen lightning. There, something incredible happened. The moment the children touched the largest stone, a wave of warm energy washed over them. A vision rose before their eyes, showing Aurelia and Rethos in harmony, sharing knowledge, growing side by side. But the vision quickly twisted into fire, showing destruction, war, and the sky breaking apart. Lyra gasped and pulled away. Orion held his head, trembling. The prophecy. The choice. Their bond could save or destroy everything. They had no idea how to choose. The peace shattered the next morning. Rethos' ships entered Aurelia's atmosphere. They descended like sharp stars, engines humming with high energy. Aurelia's guardians sounded alarms across forests and rivers. Lyra clutched Orion's hand. He trembled. He knew these ships. They were rescue vessels, but also armed. A Rethos commander landed with a squad of armored soldiers. When they saw Orion alive, relief washed through them. But the commander stepped forward and pointed at Lyra's village. "Return the boy," she warned, "or face consequences." Lyra stood protectively between the soldiers and Orion. "You can't take him like he's a thing," she said. "He is a child. He belongs to us," the commander insisted. "He belongs to himself," Lyra replied. Aurelia's guardians emerged from the forest, ready to defend their people. The tension crackled like electricity. Any small spark could begin a war. And that spark arrived, in the form of a single soldier who misread a guardian's movement and fired a warning shot. The guardians retaliated, and chaos erupted. Lyra screamed as blasts shook the ground. Orion grabbed her hand and pulled her away from falling debris. The two children ran into the forest as the battle raged. Metal against crystal. Light against nature. The prophecy felt like it was coming true. They reached the Heartstone once more. Orion collapsed, panting. "They'll destroy each other," Lyra whispered in horror. "We have to stop them," Orion said, voice breaking. "We have to show them what we saw." "But how?" Orion looked at the stone, glowing faintly. "Together." Lyra placed her hands on the stone. Orion placed his hands beside hers. The Heartstone pulsed, recognizing the fusion of two different life forces, organic and technological, natural and artificial. A surge of energy rushed through them. Their thoughts merged, their memories connected. Together, they became a bridge. The Heartstone amplified their bond, sending a wave of light across Aurelia and up into the sky. The entire forest glowed. The energy rippled through the atmosphere and touched the Rethos ships. Every soldier, every guardian, every elder, everyone fell silent as visions filled their minds. They saw Aurelia and Rethos sharing knowledge peacefully. Children from both worlds learning from each other. Forests and cities intertwined. Light and nature side by side. Then they saw the alternative: war, fire, broken planets, shattered futures. Two paths. One choice. The vision faded. All eyes turned toward the forest, toward the Heartstone. The children glowed softly, hands still touching the crystal, eyes gentle and filled with the same truth. They were meant to meet, not to destroy their worlds, but to save them. The battle stopped. The commanders lowered their weapons slowly. The guardians stepped back. Elder Sira whispered, "The prophecy misunderstood. These children are not the threat. They are the answer." The Rethos commander bowed her head. "We came with fear, but your child showed courage. Perhaps we should listen." Lyra and Orion collapsed into each other's arms, exhausted but smiling. They had done it. In the months that followed, everything changed. Rethos and Aurelia began talks, real talks, built on understanding, not fear. Children from both worlds were chosen to meet under supervision, learning each other's ways. Lyra and Orion became symbols of hope, two children who were never meant to meet, yet changed everything. Lyra visited Rethos, standing in awe at the glowing cities. Orion visited Aurelia, walking softly through singing forests. They taught each other languages properly now, laughing at mistakes and making new memories. When they reunited at the Heartstone once more, Orion smiled shyly. "I used to think our worlds were too different," he said. "But they just needed someone to connect them." Lyra nodded. "Sometimes worlds are like people. They don't understand each other at first. But they can learn," Orion finished. They stood side by side, gazing at the sky where their planets shone brightly, two worlds sharing the same star, finally connected by more than fear. Do you think our worlds will stay friends? Orion asked. Lyra smiled gently. As long as we remember what brought us together. Orion held out his hand. Lyra took it. Above them, the Heartstone glowed warmly, alive with hope, memory, and the promise of peace. And thus, the children who were never meant to meet became the bridge between two futures. Not by prophecy, not by destiny,
but by choice.